I'm a federal employee. I posted a video, the one before this, about being a federal employee during a government shutdown and how that can be a little stressful, how it can suck because you have to tell your kids that you got to cut all non-essential items from your budget until Congress can figure out a spending bill. And I feel like some people lose the point. They don't listen to the video, or they are so set on their ideas or what their experience with not being a federal employee is, but they think it is, that they don't listen. They don't listen. So I'm just going to hit a couple points in this video, and then I'm going to go to work at my job where we're severely understaffed, but they've not increased our pay substantially to make up the difference. And we're all at breaking points because it's just very stressful. It's very stressful right now to be a federal employee. Partial paychecks. There was a comment about how we always close out our pay periods to accommodate for the new fiscal year. If you didn't know, at least my agency, which I never say which agency it is, fiscal year government-wise is October 1st through the end of September. This time, because there was no budget, we had to close our paychecks out, our time cards out, through September 30th. So whereas a paycheck, getting paid every 2 weeks, is typically a 10-day paycheck, this one that we have coming this Friday is for 7 days. So I'm missing 3 days of pay that I will not see until they make an agreement on the budget. So I'm essentially going to receive a partial check, which will all be spent on my mortgage and HOA. After that, I am on my own. I will be living on credit cards and savings until they come to an agreement, okay? That is not normal. I've been with this agency 15 years. It's always a 10-day pay period. They may have to do some budgeting or some accounting on their end to pull from different funds. I don't know how that works. I am not responsible for paying federal employees, but we don't ever see it as any different when the fiscal year rolls over. We always get a 10-day paycheck. The idea that this is fine or normal and that, oh, it's fine, we're going to get paid back, because that was another comment. Like, oh, so you guys aren't going to get paid back? Sure. Yeah, no, we always get paid back. It's true. We do always get paid back. If this goes on for a week, it's fine. 2 weeks, sure. But there are people within the government that don't have savings. That is a fact. There are people within the government whose credit cards are already maxed out. Federal employees are typically paid well once they hit a certain level. But if you're like a GS5, you're making like 40 grand a year. You're living paycheck to paycheck with no ability to save. Maybe your credit cards are already maxed out. Maybe you're anti-credit card. Maybe you just don't like credit cards. So this isn't fair. This is, I mean, just because we're going to get it on the back end doesn't mean that it's okay. Doesn't mean that there aren't people that can't do that. There are people who are not even federal employees, and let's say they're renting their house out to a federal employee. For example, I used to be a Coast Guard wife. When we moved to Texas, I'm not anymore, but that's irrelevant. We kept our house in Jacksonville, Florida, and we rented it out. Had a federal employee rented it out and not been able to pay for it because we're not equipped to take credit cards for mortgage payments to then turn around and pay, we would have been the one who would be affected. And we're not even federal employees. Not to say federal employees should have to be affected by this, but the average American, the average tax-paying American whose taxes are funding the salaries of the people that are getting us into this mess should not be affected at all. There should be an ongoing budget that funds our paychecks, period. Our paychecks should not be held hostage while they try to figure shit out. So in the meanwhile, those of us that either don't have credit cards or can't pay mortgage or rent on a credit card are going to burn through our savings or not be able to make these payments. We're not going to be able to make credit card payments. We're not going to be able to make car payments. And our credit could potentially suffer depending how long this goes on. If this goes on for 2 months, that is a reality. It doesn't matter if they're going to go back and pay us. Our FICA scores are going to take a hit, or not our FICA, our whatever, our credit score, whatever, could potentially take a hit. We could be hit with late charges. Yes, they give us a letter saying what's happening, but not all creditors have to take that. My last thing that I'm going to address, which was also addressed in my comments, and this is more like in solidarity with those that are essential government employees. This is not my first shutdown. I've been with my agency 15 years, but this has been something that has always been kind of like a sore spot for me. Yes, we always get paid back, essential and non-essential employees. So essential employees are those that are going to keep working through a shutdown because our jobs are important. Our jobs are not something that we could just not do. So those that are essential continue to work through a shutdown, while those that are not essential get to go home and stress about this with their families. They get to stress about this while not having to pay expenses required to work. Some people have to pay gas to get to work. Most people have to pay gas to get to work. People have to pay childcare in order to work. That's the other thing. Like those, most of the time you can't put childcare on a credit card. So people that are having to pay to put their kids in daycare and go to work while not getting paid, like that's a real thing. The non-essential versus essential has always been a sore spot for me because it's not fair. It's just, I personally would love to go home. If I'm not going to get paid, if I'm going to stress about how the bills are paid, I'd rather be able to save on those expenses and be at home stressing about it in the comfort of my own home than being at work, stressed at work, fighting with people about what I can and can't do because we're shut down. They never give us any additional allowances. We don't get a bump in pay because we work during the shutdown. They don't get a reduction in pay because they didn't work during the shutdown. Nothing, there's no like, thanks for working during this stressful time. Sorry you didn't get to go home. Additionally, like if I'm home for a month during a shutdown, there are things I can do. Maybe I can earn money by babysitting, or maybe I can earn money, reading tarot cards on the internet or something to earn additional funds to pay for things that can't be put on credit cards. But we don't get that option. We don't get that option. So those are my rants and my addressing certain comments in my comment section for that video. I hope that helps. If you're a federal employee, I'm with you. This is not a partisan video by any means. It's just a government employee griping about certain things. I'm going to go to work now. I hope you guys have a good day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.